Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
So this is the ReBoot review,
It's Alphanumeric.
I'm Robin.
I'm Katie.
And this is a YouTube show where we watch ReBoot and talk about ReBoot.
Because we love ReBoot.
Exactly. And we hope you love ReBoot too, because otherwise there's not really much of a reason for you to be here.
Yes, but we really appreciate your company and we hope you stay.
Yes, yeah.
So that you can love ReBoot.
Yes, love it like we do. Or at least what we hope with this is that you maybe learn something about the show or think about some cool things about the show that you hadn't thought about or laugh with us as we enjoy some of the quirkier things about animated series made in the 90s. There's all kinds of things to enjoy here. So today we are watching the penultimate episode of season 2, second to last, Trust No One, which I was a huge X-Files fan in the 90s when this episode came out. And so, of course, the title is an X-Files reference because X-Files was all the rage in the mid-90s. But it is also a pun, which I don't think I realized until far too late.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's ones and zeros, right? The binomes.
I only just realized that now.
Well, to be fair, again, it took me a really long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, my mind
is
blank.
Trust no one.
For once, I actually have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, you're an X-Files fan.
Yes, diehard.
Okay, and so how old were you about when it aired?
When this episode aired or when the X-Files aired? This was I have it written down. This was January of 96 that this episode aired. So
do your math.
Oh gosh. I would have been 14.
So you would have been watching X-Files.
13 or 14. Wait, I have a late birthday, so
okay, this is close enough.
yeah, 13, 14, yeah.
Okay, and X-Files had been already well into its heyday.
Well, yeah, X-Files premiered 93. Okay. And I didn't start watching the series until it was in its third season, but I definitely, I didn't watch X-Files until it was in its third season, but I definitely was an X-Files fan by the time this episode came out. Because I remember being, excited for it.
That's what I was curious about, was, what was your reception for it then? And then if you had become a bigger fan as you got older, had your perception of it changed? Or is it just the same? It's just kind of like a fun fan thing?
I was super stoked about this episode. And I'm trying to remember how much I knew about it beforehand, except for the fact that the exciting thing about this episode was they actually signed Gillian Anderson to be the character who is the spoof of Dana Scully. And so I'm pretty sure I knew about this episode beforehand because it was announced in the entertainment section of the newspaper or somewhere that Gillian Anderson would be guest starring in this episode. So I want to say I knew about it before and that I was excited about it, but it was also it was disappointing to have the real Dana Scully, but then an impersonator.
Fake Duchovny.
A fake Fox Mulder. That always, when I was that age, that was this is so cool, and yet it's still kind of
disappointing.
Falls short.
Yeah, because he does a good job of making the spoof of the character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't play very well when she's so real.
When she's real, yeah. And she's not spoofing Dana Scully. She really is playing Dana Scully, albeit Dada Nully. And that always kind of sat a little weird with me, but with age and perspective, just the fact that they got Gillian Anderson at all is amazing and just super cool.
And she is Canadian.
No, she's not.
She pretends to be Canadian all the time.
They were filming in Vancouver.
Yeah, I thought
which is how they were able to get her for this. No.
And David Duchovny's definitely not Canadian either.
No, he's very American. And I think Gillian Anderson, I'm not a huge fan of the actors themselves, just separate from the show, but I'm pretty sure Gillian Anderson,
Ouch.
Well, I mean, they're awesome, but I was never a learn everything I possibly can about the actors type of fan. But I think she was from Britain. Or at least she lived in England for some time. So I don't remember whether she was born there
Canadian
or she grew up
enough.
there. Yeah, I mean, it's close. Yeah, it's similar. But yeah, and so now I just appreciate that she was a good enough sport to do it at all. And as an adult, I personally think Gillian Anderson is just a cooler person than David Duchovny.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, as time went on.
If you had to get one, that was the cooler one to get, in my opinion. So
he went on and did Zoolander, so...
That's true, and he did a pretty good job of that.
He did. If only he could have been a good sport back then when he was more popular.
Yeah, but this was also around the time when there was the whole kerfuffle of David Duchovny wanting to single-handedly move the show to LA because he didn't want to be in Vancouver, and that was all super dramatic, and so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was definitely excited for this episode when it came out, and my feelings about it have kind of like waxed and waned over the years, but now it's just I have a lot of affection for it. Yeah. And it's definitely a piece of zeitgeist because it's like, oh yeah, ReBoot airing when the X-Files was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. It really does show just how strong ReBoot was at the time. Like, it was a big deal. It was.
Yeah, and I want to say Gillian Anderson took the role because she was familiar with the show.
That does seem familiar.
Yeah, like I feel like I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we made that up as fans, and then
if you have some sort of citation refuting that, please feel free to leave that in the comments.
We're gonna say she's a huge super fan.
Yeah, just like us.
Yeah.
All right,
she's here right now.
Right, just being very, very quiet, respectful.
Yes,
of our need to talk all the time. Okay, and with that, let's start. So we're going to start right now.
I come from the net through systems.
And I was testing this episode before we started, and the open to this episode is also very much like an homage to the X-Files. So that's another kind of like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, just everything about this episode was basically structured as an X-Files parody, which is kind of fun. So
for someone who was allowed to watch
Yes, X-Files. That's right. As we've established before, it was considered too much for Katie's house.
My young brain.
Yeah. And for your younger siblings.
That was the big
part. Yeah. So when there was little brothers and sisters
I'll stick to that if anyone asks, and it won't have anything to do with the fact that I was a sleepyhead who had nightmares the whole time, who just wanted to go to bed and didn't want to watch a scary show.
Man, so how did this episode go over with you then?
For me, I actually just felt really like I knew how cool it was, because I knew how important the show was to everybody. X-Files was to everybody, and I just felt like I was just missing out. Like I could appreciate it,
but it was just like not because like what's going on here is a hard open, right? So it's normally at the beginning of ReBoot we get like the title card with the credits and everything like that. Right. But you notice we didn't get that here. We didn't get the name of the episode, and this of course is an allusion to the hard open of an X-Files episode, like the teaser that would air before the credits came on. So. And this really does feel very X-Files. It's like, we're going to come into a dark alley, and we're going to establish, this guy going about his ordinary business, but with a little bit of creepy atmosphere, even if he doesn't know it.
Garbage out. Isn't that right, Al? What?
He did say that into the dumpster. I don't blame Al for not hearing.
Yeah, really, you can't. He's only got himself.
Right. And again, things like seeing the creepy POV angle of the monster. This is all about like setting up atmosphere because early X-Files, original series, not counting these new episodes that have been coming out recently, was all about setting up atmosphere, which is exactly what this hard open does. And even like the Mark Snow-esque music. Mark Snow being the composer on the X-Files, of course.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then we cut into this, right? Yeah. Here's your episode title.
Not at all creepy.
The aftermath. Yeah. And then we just cut to back on the ranch.
Yeah, meanwhile.
After our creepy establishing, we get back to normal business. So very classic X-Files move.
Join me for an energy shake?
Love to, sugar.
Cecil.
It is interesting, like, basing an entire episode around X-Files when their fan base, or, like, who you'd assume would be their fan base, wouldn't actually be old enough to watch and enjoy X-Files.
Yeah, that's really true, yeah.
But they're like, I don't care, I like X-Files.
Yeah, which is the impression you get, the creatives on the show really did that a lot. I feel like
Still
they
doing
often
mainframe.
wrote the show for themselves.
I'm
and not
tying up some
necessarily
loose
for a
ends,
child
audience.
audience.
This and that.
Which turned out to be
This and that
genius,
seems to keep-
apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's always smart. Assuming you're the kind of
happened
person
again.
who
Another
likes the
abduction
things
on
that
level
kids will
31.
like
This time
automatically.
it's Alice Wader.
You know, I don't think it's ever a bad
What?
strategy. Just
If we're
write
quick, we
something
can get there
for
before the
you
reporters.
that
George
you-
R.R.
you
Martin
enjoy.
trying to write
About
a kid's show.
abductions?
Bob,
Just
we could use
imagine.
your help.
This is what I like.
I would rather not imagine that.
Enzo, I'm talking.
Oh, moving on.
We've tried everything. There's no sign of her.
What?
Oh, that's right, Guardian.
Miss Brody, what are you doing here?
Oh, when Miss Matrix failed to pick up young Andrea and Enzo from
Also,
school,
I forgot
I thought
that
it would be prudent
Dot
to
goes missing in
escort
this
them home.
episode.
What with
I've seen
the
this recently. I don't know how I
abductions and
forgot that.
Would someone tell me what abductions?
We've had reports of sprites vanishing from level 31. Yes, the latest being Al's Wader.
Wait,
Excusez
Al's Wader's a
moi,
bino.
but
I
Madame
thought we
was
were very
going to
like
a
clear on
Yes.
this distinction.
Sprites?
You
Well,
take Enzo
maybe
and Andrea
sprites.
to the principal office.
Wait, no,
I'm
you're right,
going
you're right.
31.
Maybe the world,
No
the culture is
buts, Enzo.
changing.
This
Yeah,
is
there we
serious.
go.
Miss Brody, could you look after the little darlings? I've got some unfinished business to attend to.
Not at all
I'm
suspicious.
sure these fine gentlemen will escort you.
This is another one where we do kind of leap right into the action. I mean, the teaser open notwithstanding, it's like, yeah, Dot is missing just like right off the top of the episode.
Yeah, it's,
You know,
it's jump right in.
moving pretty fast. And there we go.
Excuse me.
Be with you in a nana, like I am rushed off my inlines.
Yeah, that's a character that doesn't hold up.
No.
Not at all, I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Shoot.
A friend of mine, Dot Matrix, was supposed to meet Al here. Have you seen her?
Well, Al was supposed to have a meeting with her, but she didn't show, okay? So, like, that's right, isn't it, Al? What? Sorry, that's all I can get out of him.
Well, can you tell me anything about
Funny,
these
if that character was done
disappearances?
just a little bit better,
It would actually, it would work, but it's
You ask a
done
lot of
very over the
questions,
top.
Guardian.
yeah. It's funny how it wasn't that long ago that
CGI
that
special
kind
agent
of
facts
joke
mode.
was normal.
And it was a joke.
And it was a joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know.
We're looking for a missing person.
Yeah.
Instead of like a
Dot
fun,
Matrix has
quirky
disappeared.
character, it's just an
Do you know
insult,
anything about
really.
it?
Yeah.
There's been a rash of disappearances in mainframe.
Fong sent us to investigate the most recent case, Al's Wader.
You work for Fong? We should talk.
You know, and as much as I love Gillian Anderson and that she's in this episode, was surrounded by people who are voice actors, you do kind of feel like she's not a voice actor, at least not at this point.
Yeah,
You know, she's she's acting, like she's playing it straight, but with everyone being a seasoned children's voice actor, all these over the top performances going all around her, and she's just acting.
Being herself,
Yeah,
right? Being
yeah.
her character.
Being her character, yeah.
Which doesn't,
Rather, because
yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is when you see interviews with Gillian Anderson, she's not Dana Scully at all. She's
Right, yeah.
Go.
actually
Looks
quite a
like
lot
I
more
found me
lively.
another victim.
Right.
Yeah, almost scrappy too, I'd say.
I can't accept
Yeah, I've never actually
Mouse
seen,
and old
and but
friend.
I've heard that about her, is that,
Bob,
yeah,
we've got
like,
to be
she's actually an
reasonable
actor?
about this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she had a character?
Points to Mouse. We have eyewitnesses who will testify
Yeah,
to
you
her
almost
being
wonder
on
if
or
her
near the scene of
direction
each
was,
abduction.
well, you have to play it really
Coincidence.
morose, like over the top,
Tell him your
like
theory, Modem.
the way you would do it in
Yeah.
the show, but like even more because
It's
we're
a
trying to
parody,
make a parody
so,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
got
Like you almost think she's being
I
held back.
suspect
Yeah.
she's a web creature.
What? Oh, now this is ridiculous. These aren't theories. These are delusions.
Listen, when I was just a little node, I saw my sister.
But it's
taken
also
by
such a
strange
throwback to
creature.
all the things that did used to be
Yeah,
parodied
things.
about the X-Files.
Just like Mouse.
You need
Excuse
the
me, but is your
ridiculousness
partner
of,
completely random?
you know, the Fox
Not
Mulder character
completely.
having a theory
Okay.
that Mouse is an
Why didn't it
alien
take you
of all
to that?
characters, right? And that's
don't
it's
know.
played as a joke,
I was
basically.
reading comic bites in bed. and When I peeked out from under the covers, I saw something hovering over my sister. Then I pointed my flashlight at it, and a moment later, it and my sister were gone. I'll never forget the noise it made.
I don't want to seem insensitive, but next you'll be telling me that you've seen the user.
There is no user. That's just induced mass psychosis engineered by the Guardians.
That actually does feel like a
But what
pretty
about the
accurate
games?
X-Files parody
Sent by the
joke.
Guardians to promote the user myth.
Another conspiracy theory modem?
One of many.
I like that it's called the
So,
user
let me
myth,
get this
though.
straight.
Yes.
There's a web
That's very
creature
appropriate.
posing as mouse, loose in mainframe, abducting sprites. For what purpose?
I haven't worked that out yet.
Okay, and Guardians are control freaks willing to sacrifice the very people they are sworn to protect by dropping games on them?
That's right.
Tell me, did Fong interview you personally for this job? Didn't think so.
Look, this isn't getting us anywhere. What we need is a plan, not theories.
You remind me of somebody.
Hey, you guys, there's been
Yeah, I
an
guess there
attack.
is a bit of a...
First on the scene,
There was a
your
type of character
reporter,
that was my favorite character when I was young.
We are here at the site of the
love
latest in a
Scully, I
series
love
of
Dot.
terrible abductions.
Yep.
This time, an innocent numeral, number 5. Tell the viewers in your own words.
We just
what you
saw number 5 walking
We
by.
did!
anything.
So there you have it! An invisible assailant.
Also, I have to say that, like, Al's
Just interviewed the
Diner
wrong
is
person.
operating
You,
pretty
the viewers,
smoothly with a pretty
decide.
carefree waiter, given that
I know,
the
people keep,
usual
like,
waiter is
disappearing.
gone. Like,
I know.
Guys.
Maybe it's actually doing really well because the waiter is gone.
we're actually up to
This isn't funny,
speed.
guys. Now come on.
Wait, who's... Oh, wait, that's
Guys?
right.
Oh, yeah.
So creepy.
But we haven't even been introduced.
That was cool doing it with the shadows instead. And again, X-Files
strobe.
was all about what you didn't
you all
see.
right,
At least
Morgan?
early X-Files was. And it was so
That's
good at
it.
the atmosphere
That's
thing.
the noise the creature made.
Quick, outside, now!
Hold it! CGI!
That's a good one.
Also, really shocked that they were able to draw straight up weapons on like those
Yeah,
look
that's
like
true.
guns.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's not what you think, Bob. You've got to let me go.
You know I can't do that.
Can't believe they fell for that.
Don't make me do this, Mouse.
Trust me.
Wait, how did she get that close?
Yeah, that was I think it was supposed
There
to
was
be
a footstep, yeah.
Glitch,
Still.
Tracer. You two look after Mike. I'll take care of Mouse.
Are you okay?
It bit me!
Calm down.
It was the light! The light, I tell you! The light saved me!
Wait, did he save himself with the light from his own screen?
Oh, I get it.
Wait here.
That's great.
Something
Mike's secret
hates
superpower.
Give it to me straight. I can take it. Tell me the truth. Tell me the camera was rolling.
It would have been good to have a little reaction from them on that.
Yeah. That was almost what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glitch, get me Fong.
It's interesting. There's not very much that you can like joke about in this episode.
No,
It's
and
so-
I found even just watching that last scene with like Mike talking to Modem and Nully, I was very like rapt.
I know.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
wow,
just interested.
action, like
Improving.
yeah.
It's shedding its skin. It's growing, Fong. And I think I know what it's using for food.
Another thing that is so X-Files is like coming into the monster den and it being full of like
found
the
the larva.
detritus of the
I'm gonna
monster.
free the mainframers.
You know.
Mouse, forget the mainframer.
Oh, this is the
We
first
need
time we hear
confirmation on
Turbo,
the
isn't
web
it?
creatures.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll report back when I've got something.
Mouse,
And the beginning of the whole idea that like Mouse is kind of linked in with the Guardians and
Yeah, there's more to her.
yeah.
I like how she's tiptoeing, like,
Yeah.
do.
But she's still got so many like chains and things on her boots. It doesn't make a difference.
It really doesn't work. Although it's actually neat, 'cause, like, they do a good job of creating a weight to her or any character.
Yeah,
when
it's
they
really
move.
true. I mean, your footsteps, even if you're walking quietly, do need to make noise. Oh, that's a cool. That was a nice reaction from
Yeah.
her. Like, I like that they gave her that beat to be like, "Oh, geez."
Yeah, and then calm.
relief. Yeah. Calm herself down. Blink a few times.
Good sound effect.
Yeah, it's
like
some
that.
good Foley right there. Again, this episode being all about establishing that X-Files type atmosphere, which is about using light and sound.
It's just that tiptoe is
tiptoeing, ching, ching, ching. Yeah, you definitely know that the person who wrote this episode was an X-Files fan, because it just hits all the kind of
Right.
things it needs to, right? And again, more very nice work on the score.
And this is pretty much how every X-Files
Yeah, I was
ends,
gonna say this
right?
is like
Every human, someone in
archetypal X-Files.
pods.
Yeah, you're in a pod, your life force being trained. 5, no! So man, like Dot was like one of the first victims, I imagine.
That's
Seems
right.
like it got her before it got Al's waiter.
Well, you know what? She's on the pulse of things.
Yeah, true.
Oh, man.
That is pretty gruesome.
That is super freaky.
Dot, hang on, honey. I'll get you out of there.
So we know Mouse is a good guy when she's willing to free Dot.
Yeah, but none of the other ones. Just Dot.
No. Mouse doesn't know any of the others.
Yeah.
She only cares about people she knows.
Mouse? It's horrible. It feeds off our energy to keep stable in this system.
Wait here. I'll get the others out.
No, I'm okay.
No, don't get them out.
Just get me out of here.
I hated these guys so much.
Oh no, she did it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, the clown. I mean, I think
Run!
it was obviously some of the most annoying people.
I really was just doing mainframe favors.
Wait a minute, was
horrible
it
web
stomping?
creature.
No!
Yeah,
You get out of here with
like,
them.
wait a
I've got to
second.
stay. What?
Okay, maybe he
I've
was
gotta get
banging
proof
on a-
that this
Oh,
thing exists.
okay, yeah, that makes more
Trust me,
sense.
it exists.
Yeah, no, that was a stomp. This is much more gruesome than anything we've seen on ReBoot to date. And like, it's
Yes.
very fitting with the monsters we'll eventually see, even in the next episode.
Yeah.
Kind of anglerfish-ish, almost.
Yeah, definitely.
Not again. It's like, no, I like this one.
Yes. So much energy. It is really scary.
Well, I guess Mouse couldn't be the only one to save Dot. Bob had to save her too. Otherwise, Bob's day isn't complete.
You were right. It can't stand the strong light.
I'm sure there's a very scientific reason for it.
But we don't know what it is.
Mouse, get Dot out of here. There's a security team on its way.
I think you'll need a little bit more help than that, Guardian. Turbo, I've got visual confirmation. Send help now!
There's the proof we need, Turbo.
Oh, and when we weren't allowed to see Turbo's
It's a class
face.
M. It has portal
Yes,
forming
he had to be
abilities.
like a
It can invade
mystery
the whole
Guardian
net.
figure.
Who are you talking to?
The cavalry, sugar.
You were talking to Turbo?
I've been working for Turbo.
You don't understand what you just done.
What do you mean? He's sending help.
Do you know what the Guardian protocol is for finding a web creature in a system like mainframe?
They have no intention of saving us?
They have every intention of destroying us.
Also,
They've probably already
thematically
planted a
appropriate to the
device.
X-Files
The
that
only
if they needed
question
an
is,
episode to
where?
reveal
all
that
agreed
the Guardian Council would be doing this kind of thing, that you would make it an X-Files-based episode, right? Because it just fits in so much with everything that the X-Files is. But this, of course, is an important larger plot to ReBoot as well. Although, if Mouse
I'd like to be
didn't
alone
think
for
she
this.
was doing anything bad by working for the Guardians, I wonder why she felt a particular need to keep it secret from Bob that this was what she was getting up to this whole time.
I almost wonder if she respected the secrecy, or like they asked her not to, or said it was classified.
I guess that must be it, yeah. But then she spoke to Turbo right in front of him.
Yeah.
Just now. Maybe she decided that the gig was up at that point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah, why would she have... I mean, although she is a secretive person to begin with, but she's also someone who likes to break rules, it seems.
Yeah.
So.
Guardian, we can't hold it
Oh,
for
right.
much
We saw
longer.
that little mini
Couple of
glitch-looking
nanoseconds.
chip
Won't
at
make
the
any
end of
difference.
Baby
Gigabytes.
glitch.
Yeah.
Gotta get this out of mainframe.
Bob!
Wait, there's like a web creature here, Bob. Where are you going?
There's some good intense drum in the back.
Yeah, this whole episode's pretty intense.
Yeah. And I think that's like, again, going back and watching these now, I feel like there's something new that I appreciate in every episode. In this case, yeah, it's just this like, this intensity of the episode that I'm almost having a hard time talking about because there's conspiracy stuff with Guardians and
Oh boy.
atmosphere and tension and...
Oh no, the baby. Yeah, I almost think this is the real moment when the show changes.
Yeah, I think so too. Because yeah, from Web World Wars on, it's gonna be really a lot more of this.
Yeah.
And this, like, you know, Turbo looking
I'm so
super
sorry
remorseful
I
about
had to kill all of you.
Yeah. And of course, you know, major cliffhanger at the end of this one. Yeah.
Bob, come in.
Don't fret, Enzo. Yeah, it'll get much worse before it gets better, Enzo. I wouldn't waste your time worrying about it now.
All the different sound effects are really cool.
Yeah.
Bob, come in.
Sorry, Funk. The explosion caused interference.
The web creature has escaped.
No! It's a Class M! It can use the tear energy to form a portal to the web!
We just introduce classes as we need them in order to create tension.
There is a book somewhere. I mean,
Yeah. Maybe I need to create an encyclopedia of
anytime
virus
they ever
and web
mention-
creature classes
Yeah.
and at what point did we realize this was a Class M? Was that a scene I was talking over? Like,
No,
was he able to just look at this thing and be like, oh dang, Class M?
I know this. I studied this. I was totally paying attention in class.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, Guardian Academy's supposed to train you for these things.
Yep.
It just broke free.
We couldn't stop it.
We couldn't stop it. Yeah, it just doesn't come out as very...
Yeah. And again, she's a brilliant actress, so you just
Molly.
sort of wonder...
The web
Yeah,
is
it
out
is.
there.
No, Modem. It's here.
This is it, Fawn. Prepare for war.
I feel like war is one of those things that in kids' media doesn't really always carry the weight that when they're like, yeah,
G.I. Joe.
yeah, it's wartime now. It's like, yeah, because you know, a third of kids shows are about war, so it just doesn't really like feel like it has the weight.
Yeah, it's true.
But I would like to see a show like this that starts cute and gets serious without having to introduce, like,
war. Like, what else can you do? Well, because it always comes down to a battle.
Yeah, which I mean is what the games were a lot of the time too. And
I remember when I was a kid being really super confused because it was like, so the net is good.
Yeah.
But the web
when you're
bad.
like, especially maybe kids nowadays, all of our digital natives,
they all know
this stuff. But as like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old in the 90s, the web net distinction was still very vague.
Yes.
And I remember being kind of confused by that too.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
We want to open
to
a
me.
portal to the net and go to the supercomputer, but this web business, we don't want that. That's no good.
No.
Yeah.
But like, isn't everybody all, wait, what?
You mean we don't get to go to the supercomputer? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being super confusing. I'm still kind of confused right now.
I'm just thinking about the fact that we never do get to see the supercomputer.
I know, after all of this.
After everything, it just remains this mythological.
Maybe it's the
city
high
on the
school
hill
in that show that is the supercomputer.
What show, Katie?
I don't know.
What show are you talking about?
I should not have even watched the teasers for it.
No, we shouldn't have, but we did. I seem to recall you made me watch it.
You have to watch it. I mean, don't watch the show because it doesn't exist.
You have to know what you're missing if it did exist. Anyway, that was not the tangent that we expected to go on at the end of watching Trust No One, but any comments on Trust No One having watched it again?
Yeah, it's so funny, like, for someone who doesn't get the reference but understands, like, I mean, I've watched thrillers, like, shows with a lot of tension, and so, like, I get what the episode was doing.
Yeah.
And I got that even when I was younger, but it's funny, I don't have the same attachment to it.
Yeah.
Because of it. So it's just like a high intensity episode.
Or like watching any one of the episodes of ReBoot that does act as a reference to something where you're like, or like, you know, when they reference Star Trek, like the original Star Trek, say if you weren't a Star Trek fan, well, Star Trek has been parodied in so many things. Like, you don't need
get
the
it
original
anyway.
text. You still get it. Yeah.
But you still don't feel the same like thrill that someone who's a fan.
Someone who is attached to it does. Yeah, no, absolutely. You don't get like the anticipation of like, oh my gosh, this episode of A Thing I Love is about another thing I love.
Hooray, things I love. Yeah, exactly. I do. And so like, it's fine. It's good. It's good. I mean, it's intense. I find it kind of very intense. And
it was.
And it is exactly the direction where they were going. So it makes sense that they would do that. But for me, of course, I've always really liked I like an action episode, but I like the ones that are more fun and playful. And so for me, when it does that, it's almost like,
and even
that's
like the
what's
character
happening.
stuff in this episode, where there was character stuff, it was much more. This was much more an episode for developing Mouse's character, and secondarily Bob's relationship to Mouse, and where Mouse fits into this whole mainframe thing that she's about to become a really big part of. And so, if you're not a huge Mouse fan, you know, you might appreciate things about this episode, but it's really about her.
Yeah, we don't even find out like the cool backstory that got Dot caught up in the first place.
No,
like, you almost wonder if she heard one person disappear and she's like, gotta find out right now.
Yeah,
like, you know, like
would,
that's what I assume happened. But
I mean, it says she went missing going to meet Al's waiter.
Could have been
for a business meeting, but yeah, I mean, she could have heard a weird noise and go, yeah, there could have been a really cool story there. But this was much more about Mouse's story. So if you liked Mouse, maybe this was a great episode, like as far as feeling invested in it. But otherwise, it's just kind of a cool actiony horror thriller takeoff.
Yeah. And also the beginning of the melodrama.
Exactly. And it does get melodramatic. So until next time, this has been the ReBoot Review. I'm Robin.
I'm Katie.
And stay frosty.
We are the User Myth.